Hello my crafty friends, this is Monica from Allsewpetite. In previous video I showed you how to draft pattern for diagonal zipper pocket like this one. And in this tutorial I will show you how to make it, so you can add it to any project you want. If this is something you would like to learn, then keep on watching. To make the diagonal zipper pocket, you will need one zipper. Mine is 20 centimeters long. When we were drafting the pattern pieces, I decided that I want my zipper opening to be 18 centimeters long. So I added additional 1 centimeter on each side for my zipper. Then you will have to cut 2 zipper tabs from your external fabric and 2 from your lining fabric. You'll need to cut one piece that is called F1, so front one, from your external fabric. One piece from external fabric that is called F2, so this is our main panel piece once it's completed. And then you need to cut one piece that is called P1 from your lining fabric. This piece is exactly the same as the F2 pattern piece. However, if you are using fabric that has the right and wrong side, like me today, you need to cut it as a mirror image. So when right sides are facing each other, the pattern and the shape of your piece is exactly the same. And lastly, you need to also cut one piece that is called P2. That is the second pocket bag that we need for this project. To begin, you're going to take your zipper and the external zipper tabs, and we're going to place the zipper tab on the end of our zipper. So with right sides facing each other, you're going to align those short edges and you can clip them in place, and do that on the other side. Depending on how you drafted your pattern pieces for the zipper tabs, it might be slightly wider than your zipper. So don't worry if that's the case for you as well. We're going to trim the excess later on. Now, if you want, you can take this to the machine and baste both sides about 5 millimeters from the edge. Otherwise, you're going to flip it over just like that, and you can take your lining pieces, and with right side of your lining piece facing the zipper, you're going to place it on top. You're going to line it up, and you can just move the clip so it holds all the fabric and your zipper. When you are ready, you're going to take this to the machine now, and we're going to stitch both seams using 1 centimeter seam allowance, or whichever seam allowance you used on your pattern pieces. Now you're going to flip the zipper tabs away from the zipper, so the wrong sides are facing each other. You can clip them around if you want. Then we're going to take this to the machine, and we're going to top stitch along that finished seam, and then you can baste the remaining 3 sides, and you're going to do that on both sides. Once you have this basted, you can trim any excess on each side of the zipper tabs. Then you're going to fold the zipper in half, because we need to find a midpoint. So line up your seams, and then you can just either mark it with a pen or use a scissors to cut a little snippet, and do that on each side. Take your F2 pattern piece, then you're going to place the zipper on top. So make sure you orient the zipper in the right way. So if this is the top of my project and this is the bottom of my project, I like to open my zipper from the top towards the bottom. So this is how I'm going to position my zipper. If your project requires that your zipper opens from bottom towards the top, you can just flip it over. So it is really up to you. So once you have your zipper like this, you're going to match the midpoint. So I have a midpoint here, and then I have my zipper tabs notches here. So you're going to flip the zipper, so the right side of the zipper is facing the right side of your fabric. You're going to match those midpoints first, clip that, and then you can just see if your zipper tabs notches are aligned with the seam. So for me it is, so I'm going to clip the entire zipper in place. Here we go, just like that. Don't worry if you have excess fabric here and a little bit less here. This is absolutely fine. As you can see, there is a nice corner here, which means we only have this much excess fabric here, which is very similar to if you look at this side as well. When you have this clipped, you're going to take this to the machine now, and we're going to baste the zipper in place about 5 millimeters from the edge. On my pattern, I use 7mm seam allowance, so I'm going to baste it within the seam allowance. If, however, you used smaller seam allowance, make sure you baste only between that seam allowance. Now you're going to take the pattern piece P1, so that's the lining pocket. You're going to place it with right side facing down, so both right sides are facing each other. You need to line it up along all sides, and then you can clip it along that diagonal seam. Whenever you are ready, take this to the machine and sew the seam using 7mm seam allowance, or the seam allowance that you have in your pattern piece. After you've stitched that seam, you're going to flip the pieces away from the zipper, just like that. If you want, you can press the seam with an iron, and then you're going to top stitch alongside that finished seam. Once you've got this top stitch, you're going to take the remaining lining piece, which is called P2. This is the slightly longer piece, and you're going to place it flat on your table with the right side facing up. Then you're going to take the entire pocket and place it on top. If you want, you can just flip it to the wrong side, align it on each side, and then you can clip everything together. When you are ready, you're going to take this to the machine, and we're going to baste the pocket around all sides. Lastly, you're going to take your remaining external piece, F1, and you should have your midpoint and the zipper tabs notches already marked on it. Then you're going to flip it like this, so the right side of the fabric are facing each other. You're going to line up that midpoint first. Notches should match the seam with your zipper tabs, so check that out as well, and clip everything together. When you are ready, go ahead and sew the seam using 7mm seam allowance. Now you're going to flip the panel away from the zipper, and if you want, you can press that seam flat. Then you're going to take this to the machine, and we're going to top stitch along that finished seam. Make sure you use the same distance and the same stitch length that you used on this side, so it looks nice and symmetrical. If you have any excess fabric, like the zipper tabs here, go ahead and trim it off. And if you have any lining fabric that is visible, you can also trim it away. Now that you know how to make the diagonal zipper pocket, go ahead and add it to any of your projects. And let me know what you think. See you next time. Stay crafty, friends.